Hello, my name is Hailey Greenstone, and I am presenting my capstone project for the Doctors for America Capella Fellowship. So a little bit about me. My name is Hailey. I am a fourth year medical student getting my MD and MPH at Tufts, and I am applying into OBGYN this year. I'm originally from Virginia and spent some time in Georgia as well. I use she, her pronouns, and I identify as a queer woman. So I started getting involved in advocacy after learning in undergrad about inequity and the structures that keep different groups silenced, marginalized, oppressed. And I was very interested in what I was learning and actually finding ways to address it. And advocacy became that tool very quickly for me when I got to medical school, and I recognized the newfound privilege and responsibility that comes with the medical student title and in the future MD I will have behind my name. It carries a lot of weight, and I want to use it to protect my patients and protect the communities that are so vulnerable right now. And as a queer woman, it's particularly important to me to protect LGBTQ plus populations in this very, very antagonistic environment. And I joined DFA because of their strong sense of community around really furthering advocacy efforts. Their principles, the entire mission of patients before politics, really spoke to me very quickly and has proven to be very true for the organization. And their commitment to their members, to their patients, to the work that we're doing, despite the very tenuous situation we find ourselves in, and the risk that it takes to constantly be paying attention to what's going on and speaking out against it. DFA has remained committed to that, and so I've remained committed to them. So just for a little bit of a context, I joined the Capella Fellowship in August of last year. And through the learning that we did with our monthly sessions and the work I was doing with the health justice equity group, I decided to further my involvement with DFA and become the sexual and gender health lead for the HJE group. This led me to create and run an advocacy grand rounds on gender affirming care. And then after that, I worked on my capstone and engaged in some other advocacy efforts, including writing some public statements and speaking on some state level efforts in LGBTQ plus health. So my capstone project was a gender affirming care know your rights guide that DFA collaborated with Georgetown Law Clinic to create. This is focused on the DC area where providers have a particularly nuanced challenge in terms of understanding the legal landscape for continuing to provide gender affirming care, which is still legal there. And so those providers, we wanted to make sure they had some guidance in navigating the difference between DC. Some of them are licensed in Maryland and Virginia as well, and what that kind of entails if their patients are coming from those places into the DC area. And so this was a really meaningful project. And through this, I learned a lot of lessons. First, I learned how to be adaptable. Originally, I wanted to do a bigger rollout of this project, make it more well known, do a social media project to amplify the work that we did because it's very important and has lessons that we can learn for those who are not in the DC area as well. But with the particularly dangerous environment we find ourselves in as providers of gender affirming care and as LGBTQIA plus people, we opted to protect this guide and to protect the providers in the DC area and to protect those patients as well. And this meant we did make a webinar about this guide and share it with people who wanted to attend, but we did not make it public on our website. We have it protected for those who seek it. And that leads me to some of the awareness that I have developed, really understanding the systems that are at play here, and the constant fluctuation of our political cycles right now. It's very important that I stay informed in order to engage in this work. And then lastly, collaboration and support were very important throughout this process as we're tackling very important work. It cannot be done alone, both from a like procedural aspect and from the realities of the weight that we're carrying right now as advocates. And looking ahead, I'm applying into OBGYN residency. I plan to continue my advocacy work through DFA and other societies, including state and national organizations and other external efforts. And I really want to invest in my own well-being as we go through this really politically charged period in American history, and really build my community around like-minded advocates and people who can really support me. Thank you all for listening, and I would highly recommend you check out Doctors for America and support the work we're doing. Thank you.